Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, classmates. Our topic is about developing instructional plan for physical education and health. To achieve objectives and long-term goals, an individual should make a plan. A plan will serve as a guide for any individual to fully understand the nature of the undertaking, set priorities and targets, stay oriented, identify available and required resources, foresee possible problems occur, save time, and fulfill deadlines. Without proper planning, the risk of not completing the task is possible. Actually, kapag naman talaga may inihanda tayong plan or goal, mas madali nating nagagawa yung isang bagay. So, parang nakakapag-focus tayo dun sa target nating goal. Same as lesson planning. Malaking advantage siya sa mga teacher. Hindi lang sila nakakapag-save ng time, magagawa pa nila ng maayos at may pagkakasunod-sunod yung lesson. So, teachers are not excused from making plans. One of the major roles of teachers is to prepare an everyday lesson that requires careful and systematic planning. So, as a teacher, dapat always ready ka. Bago ka daw pumasok sa room, dapat lagi kang nakahanda. Dapat lagi kang may dala-dalang lesson plan or dapat lagi kang nakaplano. Wag dyan, B. Hindi ka naman pwedeng basta na lang pumasok tapos pag nasa loob ka na tsaka ka lang mag-iisip kung ano yung i-discuss mo, ganun. So again, ano nga ba yung lesson plan? Lesson plan is a concise summary of the course instruction by the teacher. It is considered the learning direction of a lesson. It is a strategy devised by a teacher to guide the learning of a class. So, ang lesson plan daw serve as a guide para sa mga teacher. A well-planned lesson is important in making the learning process significant because it enables the teacher to identify the important events that will lead to success in the implementation of the lesson. Further, it will help teachers focus on the important skills that pupils need to learn and acquire. So, gaya nga ng sabi dito, yung maayos daw na lesson plan is nakakatulong sa mga teacher to know and focus on important skills that pupils need to learn. And dito naman tayo sa advantages of lesson planning. It is indeed true that having a lesson plan is beneficial for classroom. For classroom teachers, the following are the advantages of a lesson plan for teachers. Number 1 is, it promotes self-confidence in the teacher. Siyempre, di ba, kapag nakaplano ka or nakagawa ka ng lesson plan, confident kang maidideliver mo ng maayos yung lesson. Number 2, it helps the teacher keep track of the sequence of the lessons. And dahil ikaw yung gumawa ng lesson plan na yun, kabisado mo yung pagkakasunod-sunod. Number 3, it allows the teacher to reflect and improve his or her teaching for the future. Dito naman, nagsuserve siya as a reflection. Kaya meron yung sa evaluation para malaman natin kung effective ba yung pagtuturo natin. Or kung tama ba or effective ba yung pag-explain natin sa mga bata. Number 4, it keeps teaching matters organized in a time frame. Gaya ng sabi ko kanina, time saving kapag nakapag-ready ka ng lesson plan. Number 5, it helps the teacher to consider the characteristic of pupils in the preparation activities. Tumutulong siya para makonsider yung iba't ibang katangian ng bata. For example, yung mga introvert na mga bata. Malalaman ni teacher kung anong strategy yung pwede niyang gamitin para ma-help si student na matutong makihalubilo or makipag-cooperate. Number 6, it provides an opportunity for the teacher to anticipate possible problems in the execution of the lesson. Malalaman din ni teacher kung ano yung mga problema or yung mga bagay na hindi maintindihan ng mga bata. Number 7, it inspires the teacher to formulate and ask relevant questions. Binibigyan din ng pagkakataon si teacher na makapagtanong or malaman kung ano yung mga opinion ng mga bata about dun sa lesson. Number 8, it allows the teacher to collect, create and utilize appropriate materials for the learning process. Ang example ko dito is yung sa evaluation, yung pagka magpapa-answer na si teacher. So, inaalaw daw niya si teacher na makapag-collect and create ng mga materials na maaaring gamitin nila sa learning process. Number 9. It helps the teacher evaluate the teaching learning process. Okay, same as sa sinabi ko kanina, yung sa may evaluation. Number 10, it guides teacher to assess if the learning objective is achieved. O dito naman yung sa may application. Malalaman na ni teacher kung yung learning objective niya ba is pinaka main goal niya sa pagturo dun sa lesson na yun is na-achieve niya. O kung naintindihan ba ng bata yung buong lesson. Okay, let's move on to disadvantages of lesson planning. On the other hand, the following are the disadvantages of lesson planning. Number 1 is, it does allow the teacher to work independently and it compromise flexibility. So, ito yung isa dun sa disadvantage ni lesson planning. Magiging independent na si teacher dun sa mga lesson plan na ginawa niya. Or hindi na siya makakapagturo ng lesson impromptu. O yung biglaang lesson lang, ganun. Number 2, it makes simple matters complicated. Feeling ko dito sa may number 2 na it makes simple matters complicated. Ano siya, para siya dun sa mga simpleng or maiiksing lesson lang. Kasi 'di ba kapag ginawan mo siya ng lesson plan, magiging broad yung topic. Hahaba siya ng hahaba. So, imbis na i-explain lang siya in a simple way, magiging complicated na yung lesson. Number 3, it allows possibility of making the teaching process challenging. Next is the elements of the lesson plan. In writing a lesson plan, a teacher should consider essential elements to ensure that the lesson plan is focused and designed to meet the needs of all the children. In elements of lesson plan, we have the learning objectives, activities, and assessment tools. In learning objectives, the teacher should determine the learning objectives that he or she wants to achieve. Ito yung sa pinakauna ng lesson plan. Ito yung mga goal, parang pinaka-main goal natin kung ano yung knowledge or skills na gusto nating ma-achieve nung bata. Second is the activities. Ito naman yung mga experiences na mga activities na pwede nating ipagawa dun sa bata. Pangatlo is assessment tool. Assessment tool is important part of the lesson for both teacher and the pupils. This helps teachers to identify the progress of the pupils. Ito na yung ina-assess natin yung students kung may natutunan ba sila dun sa lesson na diniscuss natin. Pwede tayong magpa-quiz, magpa-exam, or magpa-oral recitation. Okay, dito naman tayo sa lesson plan and its parts. The lesson plan has various parts. Every part corresponds to the different domains to be developed as the presentation of the lesson is being done. Each part is important and must be congruent to each other based on the set objectives. Okay, here's the following parts of lesson plan. First is setting of objectives. The first step that a teacher should do is to identify the learning objectives. The objectives will serve as the roadmap to the teacher on what the pupils must learn and the skills to be developed at the end of the lesson. So, ito na nga yung sinasabi ko kanina na sa pinakaunahan ng lesson plan is the objectives. For example, at the end of the lesson, the student will be able to blah blah blah, ganon. Okay, we have three domains of objectives na kailangan nating i-develop. First is cognitive, second is affective, third is psychomotor. Okay, when we say cognitive, it emphasizes the knowledge or the thinking na dapat matutunan ng bata. Next is affective. Affective emphasizes the emotion or the thinking na matututunan ng bata dun sa lesson. And lastly, the psychomotor. Dito naman is about acting or application. For example, ang topic is basic sketching. Sa psychomotor, matututo siya or maia-apply niya yung basic sketching in actual. Halimbawa, makakapag-draw siya or makakapagpakita siya ng example ng basic sketching.
Stating the subject matter. This part involves the content and concept that the teacher has to present to the class. Other elements of this part include references, materials, and skill. Stating the reference use is important to validate the concept that is involved in the lessons. Furthermore, a teacher must be use materials that are appropriate and can motivate the pupils or learners. The next one is the procedure. This part is considered as the body of the lesson plan. The subparts of the procedure are preliminary activities, review, motivation, presentation, discussion, generalization, and application. So the first part is preliminary activities. This is the daily routine of the class. It includes greetings, prayers, checking of attendance, community songs, and other activities that establish rapport between the teachers and pupils. The second part is review. This part serves as an activity to check if the pupils can recall what they have learned in the past lesson. The third part is the motivation. This is the part where the teacher provides activities that will arouse the pupils' interest or an activity that is connected to the present lesson. In motivation, teachers can use songs, stories, dance, games, or presenting pictures, videos, puzzles, or raising intriguing questions. The fourth part of procedure is presentation. The teacher presents a new lesson by stating a linking statement between the motor activity and its relevance to the lesson to be discussed. The fifth part of procedure is the discussion. This is the most essential part of the procedure. It is where the teacher asks quality questions that enable the pupils to come up with the expected concepts. The teacher may use either inductive or deductive methods when presenting the lesson by giving questions. The next part is generalization. This part is where the pupils give the concepts of the lesson in form of a statement. Since the entire information gained should be recapitulated and given emphasis, this phase requires critical thought. And the last part is application. The teacher gives an activity wherein the pupils can apply what they have learned from the lessons. Teachers may use varied activities such as making experiments, projects, collaborative work, or activities concerning multiple intelligence and others. Let's move on to evaluation. So evaluation is where the teacher gives an assessment based on the concept learned. This is a way of evaluating the progress of children and how much they understood the lesson. Essential information is given to teachers through the use of evaluation. Through using appropriate classroom assessment strategies and techniques, teachers can increase their learners' motivation and show them how well they have learned the language or the lesson. And the last part of the lesson plan is the assignment. The assignment is an activity that pupils need to do after class at their home. It aims to help reinforce what they have learned inside the classroom or to gather information beyond what was taught in the class.